It is 35 past the hour. Welcome back to Morning Joe, along with Willie, Joe, and me. Joining us now, Democratic presidential candidate, former Mayor Pete Buttigieg of South Bend, Indiana. Great to have you back on the show on this Monday morning. So,
good to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Mayor Pete, I'm wondering, I'm going to start out with a question about this fundraising email that I'm looking at right now that came from your campaign. It's actually from your deputy campaign manager, which says a lot of things, but also this. Bernie Sanders performs the worst against President Trump compared to all major candidates. So I guess my question to you is, how so?
Well, we've seen polling data come back showing that I would be the best candidate to take on Donald Trump. And I think one of the things that many voters I have encountered on the trail have in common, by the way, not just true blue Democrats, but independents and a lot of Republicans who are sick of this president. The big thing that so many folks have in common is the importance of defeating this president. Now, that's not just about ideology. It's about a lot of things. What we know for sure is we're not going to be able to beat Donald Trump by recycling the same political mindset that brought us to this point. What I'm offering is something completely different, and I'm insisting that what it takes to govern is also what it's going to take to win. I'm the best candidate to do that, to turn the page, to move us into a different future. And that's such a priority right now, knowing that this is our one shot, our only shot to defeat this president.
Mayor Buttigieg, it's Willie Geist. It's good to see you this morning. We've been talking about some polling out this morning that has a tight cluster of you all in the state of Iowa from poll to poll between Senator Sanders, Vice President Biden, you, Elizabeth Warren is there too. It could be any four of you, really. Amy Klobuchar had one good poll yesterday as well. So what's the separation point for you? You've been in Iowa a lot. You've talked to a lot of people. You've been to a lot of VFW halls. What is going to separate you, a young mayor from South Bend, Indiana, from Senator Sanders or someone as established as the former vice president of the United States?
Well, I think, again, it's the opportunity to turn the page, and it's the imperative to win. Remember, in the last half century, every single time the Democratic Party has captured the White House, certain things have been true about the nominee, without exception. It's been somebody who's new on the national scene, hasn't run for president before, does not have an office in Washington or hasn't had it for very long, and is opening the door to a new generation of leadership. That has been true 100% of the time when we've won. So we need to think about that in order to be sure that we defeat Donald Trump. And the great thing about that is that means turning the page and moving to the future for the purpose of governing is not only compatible with winning, it's the best strategy. Now, my job over the next week is to get that message out. So we're going to continue having those encounters with voters. We're on the airwaves. Our organizers and volunteers are pounding the ground. I also very much need a fundraising surge right now to be sure that we can power through the tape. So if somebody is interested or supportive of that vision and wants to make sure we win, I'm counting on them to go to PeteForAmerica.com right now and chip in.
Mayor Pete, Donnie Deutsch, great to talk to you again. Obviously, we're sitting backdrop against the impeachment. Looks like he'll probably be acquitted. How do you, knowing that that's not obviously kitchen table issues for your voters, yet at the same time, we've got this corrupt administration and basically who will get away, I don't want to say with murder, but certainly with this very, very abusive behavior. How do you thread that needle and make it relevant, not walk away from it, but not overplay it and make it relevant to your voters?
Yeah, you know, I rarely get questions about the impeachment process. And I don't think it's because people don't care. I think it's because of this sense created by the Senate GOP that it's a foregone conclusion. And it's almost designed to make us feel disempowered. It's just so dispiriting to see that this is not going to be a trial with witnesses or evidence, at least if these senators get their way. And they seem to be sending this message to us that we just have to accept it. The good news is we can take that very frustration of watching that process and turn it into a kind of energy here on the ground. Because the thing about being alive in 2020 and eligible to vote means that at the end of the day, we have a say on this. So no matter what happens on the floor of the Senate, beginning right here with the Iowa caucuses, this is a chance to send a message that that won't be tolerated, that it's not okay to lie, it's not okay to cheat, it's certainly not okay to involve a foreign country in your domestic political purposes. And that's something that most Americans absolutely get. It's just one of the many cases where something can have a majority among the American people and not seem to be reflected in the American Senate.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.